All right, everyone. Welcome to the May edition of Impact's website Throwdown. So glad you can join us. So here in Connecticut, it's been 90 degrees. If you could see me, I'm rocking a t-shirt and got really comfortable. Got shorts on today. This has been it's been such a cold winter. It's been really refreshing here coming back to this awesome weather. So we're excited, looking forward to a great weekend. And so website Throwdown. Remind everybody to use the hashtag today. The hashtag is website Throwdown. I'll be monitoring it on Twitter, sharing tweets, answering questions. And all right, so to get into this, before we do, Christine, if you can share the screen, I want to remind everyone that we have Marketing and Sales Success coming up, and I can't believe that it's next Friday. So this day, next week, we will be doing an all-day conference. We have some phenomenal speakers lined up: David Meerman Scott, Pete Kabuta, Luke Summerfield, Tom, myself, Carl Stakis. So it's an all-day event, and there will be free beer. I encourage all of our viewers today, register now. You don't have much time left. And I'm going to open up the $99 pricing just for the rest of today and maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But we don't have many spots left. We do want to get to a certain number, and we're just shy of it, so we're really happy with what we have right now, but we want to get a few more, and we want to give you the opportunity to get in. $99 pricing. Go to that URL and enter the promo code Throwdown. Hopefully you guys can all make it. Yeah, it's June 3rd at Stony Creek Brewery in Branford, Connecticut. All right, hopping into Throwdown here. I'm Bob Ruffalo, founder and CEO of Impact. And along on the team here, working really behind the scenes, we have Ramona and Christine. You guys know them. They do every website Throwdown with us, and they do an awesome job. Also here from Impact is my business partner, my friend, Mr. Tom DeCipio. What's up, buddy?
Woo! What's up, guys? How's it going? Glad to be back in May.
Yes, it is beautiful. Isn't it nice here today?
Finally, man. Reaching over 70 is... and the days are getting so much longer. I love it. That's my style.
Love it.
Yeah.
And we have a very special guest here today. I am extremely excited to welcome the president of the sales line. You've heard him on Mad Marketing. You've heard him on the Hubcast. One of the best speakers I know, my buddy, Marcus Sheridan. What's up?
Yo, man. I'm really jacked about this. Anything that has Throwdown in the name is worthy of all of our time, and I'm jacked about your event that you're doing as well. When I saw the price tag, I almost spit my drink out because you're basically giving it away, which is really, really cool. I love what you're doing. I'm glad that I'm here, and hopefully I can bring just a little bit of value to the conversation today.
You're going to bring a lot of value, and I know you're going to bring a lot of energy. Awesome. Well, let's just jump right into it. So, Christine, why don't we kick up the first site here?
Yeah, I think I'm batting lead off today, so I'll go now. Great. So I actually saw a lot of real positives with this site. Just want to say that up front. And one other thing I wanted to clarify as well is this is a European firm, so a lot of the things I say are, there may be some cultural differences between the way that they interact with this site and promote to their visitors versus how we do it in the States. But I think there can be some universal things that we can learn from this as well. So the first thing I noticed from kind of a global element perspective is that there wasn't a call to action in the navigation bar that followed me down. They're still kind of sticking with that old school contact us type of thing. I do see that they have the call to action in the main hero section, but usually when people see contact, it was the old way of saying, what's your address, right? And that's where you go. It's never really been highly converting moving forward. So we're thinking, it'd be really strong for you guys to add that, button, the call to action up there in that header. The next bit is about the hero image itself, and I think you guys are doing a great job because it tells me that you're targeting a specific audience, and I can confirm that by looking at the Industries tab. What I'd love for you guys to do to take it even a step further is to actually add some words in the content here that says who you're helping on a deeper level. So you have help sales reps, but maybe it's helping pharmaceutical sales reps or sales reps of a particular industry. And that will coincide with the image that you have there. Because if you're going to target an audience, go all in, man. Like, you've got a few different ones listed under your industries, go all in on that and really target that. Christine, if you scroll down a little bit, and just right there, just really nice job on getting the social proof up just under the hero section. My suggestion here would be to even get it up higher. The hero image is so tall that even on Christine's larger monitor, you couldn't really tell that there was content underneath. And I think nowadays most people will scroll naturally, but it's always nice to have a little hint. Maybe it's a down arrow or a circle with an arrow in it or something like that. But I love that you lead with this social proof. You've got data to support it. I think that makes it even stronger. You got some great logos in there. I noticed Renault is one of your customers. I'm a big car guy, so that's pretty cool. The next section I thought was great as well, but I have just a couple tips on the words here. So I think instead of our solutions, right, you're kind of talking about yourself. You could convert that to enable your salespeople to do X. And then kind of go into those different pieces there. Communicate on mobile or capture the voice of the customer. And that way you take it from being about yourself to about the customer, right? And also there, I love that you guys use the term discover more. I think everyone just so uses learn more all the time. And it's just nice to see a different word in that button. So kudos on that. Christine, if you could go down a little more. I think this is strong. These are apparently your uniques, and it may be great to get these closer to the top of the page as well, which is basically just a Y, and I hope I'm saying this right. Dink, I think is the name. We listen, we're fast, we make you autonomous. I think the last one is your strongest one, and the first two might be a little bit weak, right? Everyone listens, maybe not everyone's fast, but is there a different way you could say those things that make them even more powerful?
Well, Tom, the third one is about the company. That's about their clients. The first two were about them. I think that was the separator there, right? Is like we make you autonomous. The first two were about them, and so I think that's why it was so much stronger with that third column there.
Exactly, you nailed it. Great. So by this point, we're pretty much at the bottom of the page, and I realized that we haven't seen the software. So you have a software that enables salespeople, but we still haven't seen a picture of it, or there aren't too many words about it. And then we also lead to the Contact Us page, which to me seems like we're leading to a call to action that is higher in the funnel than something like a requested demo. So I think those two should be matched up at the bottom. You get a requested demo at the top, and you get a requested demo at the bottom. The only thing is I didn't really see anything that's in the middle of the funnel, the top of the funnel. It's really just kind of, getting married to the person versus going out on a couple dates. So that would be my feedback for the homepage there. Can you go to the software page for me? Cool. I've seen this stock photo so many times. Bob, you're smiling. I've seen this on so many websites.
Just about to say that.
Yeah.
Actually, that guy, I've said this before, every time I see this photo, it reminds me of my brother-in-law. Looks just like him.
I know it does. I bet everyone's laughing in the office right now because it really does. Same issue here. So the hero image is just so massive that on my laptop I couldn't see below the glass of water. So it'd be helpful to shorten that and really get to the content. And this page is talking about the platform. So Christine, if you can scroll down, you're describing it, which is great. But again, I still haven't seen it. I mean, part of my buying decision to use a platform is how it looks, what the UI looks like. Are my people going to enjoy using it? Is it comfortable? Is it familiar? Those are really, really strong selling points. And the features are great, but I'm still just I'm not seeing it. I need to visualize it. So that would be.
If I could chime in there too, Tom.
Yeah, go for it.
My experience when I see people that have a software and they don't want to put it on their site, there's usually a reason why they don't want to. So from one standpoint, I always kind of keep that in the back of my mind. Is there a reason why they're not showing their software? Is it not done yet? Is it ugly or whatever it is? But my advice to companies that feel like they can't show their software because maybe it's too complicated or whatever it is, can you come up with a visual representation of the software, something that's simplified, but it still accurately represents it, but doesn't make it too complicated to be on the site, and then gives us those warm and fuzzy, like, oh, I can see it now, and I know that this will work for me. So keep that in mind. Sometimes they can come up with simple illustrations, some vector-type graphics that do a nice job.
That's a fantastic point. I agree 100%. And the funny part is I found pictures of the software on other pages, but for some reason it wasn't on the software page. So, Christine, if you can scroll down, I want to show something that I think is just a fantastic call to action. Again, they do it kind of in a nice, different way. This could be the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Now, I think that's really clever, and it might be nice to have a supporting statement there, but I just love that it's not the standard, are you ready to get started type of call to action. It's really kind of a personal, natural way to say it. So kudos to you guys on that part there. A couple other things before we wrap up. I like, again, nice job on the word. I like get inspired. That's a nice way to change your resources section, because if you hover over that, there's some cool things in there in the navigation bar. There's webinars. I think they get the blog from there. Oh, I guess you can't get to the. How did I get to the blog?
They just removed it on you, Tom.
How the heck did I get there? I have it open on my screen right now.
There it is, under contact.
Oh, well, that doesn't make sense. A couple of things about the blog. Some really positives. I clicked into a couple of the posts, and there was actually some pretty rich content in there. They're following some great best practices of using more than one image inside the post. They have calls to action at the bottom of most of those posts. They've got the social sharing. They've got nice headers and breakup in the content. They've got related content. They've got about the author. They're doing a lot of good things here. So definitely a great job on that. I think the right-hand side of the page is where it gets a little difficult, because I'm a little distracted by the offer, and then it looks like on Christine's screen as well, it gets cut off at the bottom. If you scroll, you still can't see it because it locks to the top. So it looked a little broken, didn't function right, and I just don't know if it's the right place to have that type of offer. Maybe it could be a pop-up as to get them to subscribe. You can give them the offer, but I just thought you guys did a great job on the content. And
people might have a little banner blindness to some CTAs like that on the right-hand side as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then the final part was I just didn't know where to subscribe. So maybe I missed it, but I couldn't see anything on the side. I couldn't see anything on the main page. You guys are creating some pretty strong content. I think it only makes sense to have some area for you guys to subscribe. And just use one of those offers that you have on the right-hand side and make that as part of your subscription process, and you've created immediate value for them.
Joseph Jerome chimes in, our buddy here, who says that he can't find them on Google with that logo. Is it? Or I guess that not just the logo, but maybe he's talking about the name. Is it an exclamation point? Is it an I? How do I find them?
That's a great point.
Let me just mention a couple of really, really quick things. And you can tell that this is a newer design. There's a lot of great things about the way this designer has done the work, and it is a pretty fluid experience. But they sacrificed all SEO. It's interesting. They really focused on producing a beautiful site. It almost has no SEO whatsoever. You can tell from every single page title on here that it didn't have any type of keyword phrase that it was targeting, especially because most of the page titles of the main pages start with the company name, which obviously that's not what they're targeting for that particular page. Also, the one other thing that I wanted to point out that you didn't say, Tom, was they do have a pop-up that shows on the homepage when you come for the first time. I thought that was great. I was like, man, they got a pop-up that's great. And it's offering their ebook, but there's not a button call to action within that page that signifies to click to go to the landing page to download the ebook. And so they assume that you understand to click the ebook visual to know that's how you're going to find it, and it's not immediately understood actually. So there isn't a button on the page that says, they've got all these great call to action phrases they use within their buttons, discover it, all these other things. And this one main one that they have, which is their pop-up, it's not existing. And I think that's a simple lift that they could do that would have a big impact.
Nice.
I agree. Absolutely. Great. Well, why don't we spent a good amount of time on this site, and we got some great comments on Twitter. Why don't we actually move on to the next one here? And Marcus, I believe this one's you.
Yeah. So I go fast and furious with all things. So please forgive if I go too fast for everyone. But speaking of too fast, so they got some cool cool, funky, fun images. BuzzMath does here on the top header. But the problem is it moves too fast. And so scrolling images, if I could go back in time, I would find the person that put the first set of scrolling images in the hero nav, and I would beat that person simply because they messed up a lot of good messaging. I mean, fact of the matter is, our brains, if you look at a homepage, the singular goal of the homepage is to get them to the next page, right? And it goes back to this philosophy of I want to find what I'm looking for, I want to find it quickly. When you have the scrolling image effect in that hero top navigation area, what happens is it's almost like you're forcing me to consume it in your way versus my way, and I like it. Plus, I remember I was reading this, and it cut me off, and it showed me the next image, which everybody's experienced that one time or 10 times or 1,000 times, and it subconsciously it makes us angry. We're like, I was reading that thing. And so they need to give us more time. I think these images are really cool because they're fun, but I think that they need to go with one image and one great message. The message here, the problem that they solve, is they provide this math practice anytime, anywhere. So it's in the second section when you actually realize what they do. I think that should have been in that top section, and it should have been clear as to, boom, immediately you see it. Then what happens with them? In that next section, they've got these 3 little buckets: Teacher's Quick Start Guide, Create a Demo Classroom, and Request a Quote. They don't really stand out because we've got all these calls to action that went, we had to throw them all in there, and nothing seems to be delineated. So it's still not very clear as to what's going on. And then furthermore, in the next section, they've got this, they've got all of these different types of lessons that you can do, which is nice, but it's not totally clear the user experience here. In other words, I just wasn't quite understanding. I didn't feel like when I came to this site as a teacher, because that's why I was trying to think of myself as a math teacher. I didn't feel like they took my hand and they said, okay, let's walk around and let me show you the house. And I think that's such a valuable, important skill. And it was like they were quickly running me around the house, showing me everything, but I was seeing it so quickly that I never understood exactly what I was seeing. And so sometimes less is more, and I think we can do a little bit more, potentially, with a little bit less in this middle section of the homepage. And then finally, at the bottom of the homepage, I thought they tried to, again, slam 3 main things, or 2 main things, plus a non-important thing, into one area. And because of the way it's done with the gray background, it feels more like a footer than anything, and it almost gets lost that all these schools love them. I think the social proof of the schools trusting us should be higher on this page. I think it should pop more. I think it should be stronger. I think the testimonials in school, in the education space, when we're talking about software, when we're talking about online anything, social proof is a huge deal. And I just don't think it was highlighted enough with this homepage design. I also think it's a waste of space and time to put the news there. I just don't think it's relevant yet. I think if they want to have a new section to the site, that's fine. But I wouldn't waste that important real estate on the homepage with it because I just didn't feel like it was adding any value. let's highlight stronger schools and testimonials, and I would probably make them their own individual sections instead of trying to slam them all together into 2 or 3 sections, have them span across the page, and really allow me to see them in that nice fluid way. Those were my main impressions of this homepage. Anybody else want to add anything about this homepage before we quickly talk about the rest of the site? And I won't say much about the rest of the site, but and let me again stress, there's a lot of good things about it because it does have a good vibe to the site. It matches who they are, which is about teachers and students and math.
I love it. I love it, Marcus. I absolutely agree with you. I think the schools trusting us is the most important part of this site. And if there was a case study that went along with each of those schools, why did they hire them? What were they trying to overcome? What were the results? That's what people try to get out of websites, especially websites where you're selling a product like this. So that would be my biggest thing right now is if we can move that up and add in some data and some stories to go along with those schools that trust you. That might be all you need. Just put that on the homepage. Get rid of everything else, right? That would be huge.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with you on the calls to action, too, really quick. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Just counting up here. Teachers, parents, logging, join classroom, another one. I'm counting like 9 calls to action above the fold, and I don't know what to do. I'm an overload.
Yeah.
If there's one simple call to action, my brain wouldn't have to think. I would just, okay, this is the logical next step that you want me to take. I'm going to take that. Everything else makes secondary. It doesn't mean get rid of your login. It doesn't mean get rid of all that. But don't make it a button. Don't make it orange. Put in exactly what you want somebody to do. That maybe is check out your homepage, saying who are these people, what do you want them to do next. That's what goes right into that first spot.
Yeah. One last thing I want to point out about this site before we move on for the sake of time, and that is it's actually really hard to find the navigation bar on this site. It's a bit confusing. So what you have to do is you have to scroll to the bottom of the home page and you see it in the footer. You don't really see it, at least I didn't immediately see it at the top of the site. And then you start to see all these FAQs and you have these different elements of really what BuzzMath is. And then of course you have the contact us stuff too. But I found that it was surprisingly hard to find that, and I feel like this site right now, if there's one thing they need, it's consistent with what we said with the home page and the rest, is just make it easier for me to find what I'm looking for and find it quickly. For many teachers, they want to see the social proof first. Bob, you just mentioned that. Great point. And for others, they really want to understand exactly how it all works. So I think we need to prioritize that and show that better, and if we do that, it's going to have a stronger user experience.
Love it. Hey, Marcus, do you know who Stephanie Kestevens is?
Yes, I do know Stephanie. She is a great reader, follower, friend of the Sales Lion.
Well, she loves listening to you talk on the website Throwdown. She wants her to know that.
She is so sweet.
All right, what do you say? Are we ready to move on to the next site?
Let's move it. Let's keep going. Let's rock this.
Right. So this one was mine. First impression, way too much paragraph text. I don't think overall there's that many words here, or too many words. It's not broken down. There's no hierarchy. There's no bold. There's no where does my eye go first. It's just a bunch of text that I'm probably just going to overlook. So that was the first thing I noticed. However, I thought the pictures here, now granted a little bit small, but they gave me a good visualization. Okay, I see I'm on decorative concrete of New York, and I see floors, right? Concrete floors, and they're polished, and they look nice. Gave me a general idea of what you do. So I think the pictures are good. I think all the content really needs to be reevaluated on the top of the site here. I think one of the questions I had was, who are they serving? I'm looking here. I'm seeing that it's residential, and I'm looking at maybe it looks like somebody's basement. I see some stairs, maybe in front of a house. But I'm not sure who you're targeting here. I maybe would call that out a little bit more. I imagine you're probably targeting builders and architects, and that's probably who you're really selling to. And as I did read through the text here, that's who it seemed like you were talking to, because I don't think it was really for a homeowner or residential. So that was there. I probably would also have liked to see some pictures or visuals that show your people. You're a service business, and I think we always say, okay, well, let me show what we do and show our work, but was this done by people that I can see myself hiring? And I think that's really the question, and I'm not seeing people on the homepage. So, have professional people in the nice uniforms, doing quality, nice, clean work. I think that would say a lot about your company. I did start reading. If you read that first sentence there, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant, because there's nothing about your company until it says that you're an innovative flooring solutions provider. And that made me want to just go on a rant about calling yourself innovative, which then led me to a blog article that's titled "Stop Saying Innovation, Here's Why." And I quote. The article is by Scott Birkin, and it's from 2008, but I think it's outstanding. He says, "I'm confident in this advice. Stop using the word innovation. Einstein, Ford, Leonardo da Vinci, Picasso, Jobs, Edison rarely ever said the word, and neither should you. Every business audience I've said this to has laughed and agreed. We all know other people use it as empty verbiage, but what about ourselves? The word has become meaningless, used so often it's simply a vague substitute for cool, another problematic and highly subjective term. The people who use the word innovation most often have the least idea of what the word even means. Next time you hear the word, ask and see." And then he goes on and talks about other words like game-changing, breakthrough, radical, paradigm shift, disruptive, transformational, words that you shouldn't be using. So there's my little rant. If that's the first thing you're saying about your company, I would reevaluate it. I want to see a value proposition there. I want to see why you guys. Why do you stand out? Why are you different? Why should I care? And that was not jumping off this page at all. I'm going to calm down for a second. I'm getting myself a little too fired up.
Bob, drop the mic.
Poof. All right, so we offer a wide variety of colors and patterns. This took me to, let's see, am I on the right page here? I'm catching myself back up here. So I guess that was, next thing was really what the offering was. I didn't see a lot of information about what you're really trying to deliver. If we actually go over to the case studies, let's see, I think, where were those? Under About Us?
No, Project Gallery.
Project Gallery, sorry about that. We just talked about case studies on the other site, and I think this is relevant. I actually thought the case studies were pretty well done. They're telling a story of why they were hired, what they did. I would like to see these bring them up to the homepage, and here are some examples of work we did. There are visuals on this page that give me an idea of what actually happened, and I can see people. This is really outstanding. My really only two big tips on this page, now I think there could be some formatting stuff in the site across the board, but not a deal breaker. I like to see the pictures bigger, so because they're really small right now, a little hard to see. I'd like to see them bigger. And once you get down to the bottom of this and you told this phenomenal story, there's no next steps. It just ends. You leave me hanging. There's no obvious call to action for what I should do next. So that would be my recommended next step.
Hey Bob, can I add something to that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that companies make with case studies, and everything you said is absolutely spot on. In addition to that, case studies is about the problem that was solved. And if we look at things, this is a local business. SEO still matters very much for this company here. I know a lot about decorative concrete because I own a swimming pool company. I have a whole concrete division. And what's happening here is one of the most searched phrases about concrete has to do with concrete problems. And so if they really understood SEO, this company, they would label the case studies as what the problem was, and maybe like, how to solve the problem of XYZ with your concrete countertops or patio or steps or whatever that thing is, and then they would show exactly how they did that, everything you just said. And there's one other thing I have to mention before you close this out, and I know you're going to say a couple other things, but I got to say it.
Absolutely.
This is a decorative concrete company. The look, the feel, the vibe, the style is everything. These are high end. I don't know what they're charging, but I guarantee you this company is probably charging $10 to $20 a square foot for what they do. the site doesn't match what they are selling. And if they want to be a high-end home improvement company, which is what they are, which in terms of their messaging, they are a high-end home improvement company. They need to reflect that with the theme of their site. The overall design has not kept up with that, and they need an overhaul. I'm sure they're probably already aware of that. They're probably working on that right now, but we need a major overhaul to match what they're actually selling.
I agree. I think the overuse of the logo with the Empire State Building doesn't represent what they do either.
No, it doesn't.
So I was going to go into that, and I absolutely agree. Let's click over to the blog really quick, Christine. It's actually in the footer. I didn't find it up top. Let's see what they're writing about.
Why do people hide their blog? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Well, they also hide their blog articles, I think. So I can go into
now I know why they hide it. Yeah. I know.
I can go into a whole lesson on why they should be blogging. I'm not sure if it was an initiative that got started or if the theme that they came with had that built into navigation in the footer. But I think that creating content needs to be a priority for any business nowadays. And I'm surprised not to see any blog articles.
But with this, look, this industry is full of hack jobs, man. There are so many, quote, concrete companies, decorative concrete companies. Do you know how oftentimes Decorative Concrete of New York is going up against somebody that is probably unlicensed? And how many times they have gone up against somebody who was given a quote for a job that didn't include a whole bunch of stuff, but that stuff wasn't mentioned, and therefore they appeared to be the most expensive one. I mean, the whole industry is rife with that junk. They need to be the ones that go that they literally say, this is what's wrong with the decorative concrete industry. This is why some companies are going to charge you $7 a square foot for stamped. This is why others are charging you $17 a square foot for stamped. Now you know, and now you can at least make an informed decision, but they haven't done that, so the rest of the industry is setting the tone in terms of the education, not them. It's sad.
Boom.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So you're saying just be transparent, Marcus, right? Be honest, be transparent, let the world know. There's no reason to hide it.
Yeah, and teach the living crap out of what you do. I mean, really, that's what we're talking about here, because people don't practice pouring concrete. They don't practice throughout their life patios. They don't understand these things, especially with decorative concrete. There's a whole set of good, bad, and ugly of decorative concrete. It's their job, this company's job, to explain what those things are.
Going over to Twitter here really quick. Joshua Clarifin says, yo, stop using the word innovation. And he then follows that up by saying, if you're going to be high-end, you better look at, quoting Marcus Sheridan. And then Scott Phillips says, make sure you're framing case studies around the problem that was solved, echoing Marcus as well. Awesome. Well, why don't we move on here and hop over to the next site? Who has this one?
This is me. I believe I have D4 here. And this was... Looking at D4, this was an interesting experience for me, and so there's a couple of immediate things that I noticed. So when I got to the homepage the first time, they have an image of a person in the background, and you don't know who that person is. That person might change. But I think if you're going to have a major image like that of somebody, you should probably just say who they are. What's funny is they say it on other pages. They oftentimes, on other pages of the site, show people, and they mention their name. They don't do it on the homepage. First, other initial impression with this site. There is zero SEO on the site. In other words, the page title for the homepage is D4/home. D4/home. So just for those that are not necessarily familiar with this, what they're telling the search engines is the most important thing we want to rank for is two phrases. We want to rank for the phrase D4 and we want to rank for the phrase home. And it's just sad when I see that because there's so many opportunities. And if you break down every single page of the site, you continue to see that they don't understand. If you take to their service pages, which, again, prime SEO, you've got an opportunity to rank for some of the services you offer, e-discovery being one of them. If you go to their e-discovery page, the page title says e-discovery, and then it says D4 discovery. Instead of that, why don't we consider the page title as a service plus the personas you're targeting or the industries you're targeting. So it might be e-discovery for, and you mention some of those industries that you typically work with. Now, all of a sudden, it makes a lot of sense. But until that point, we've wasted good opportunity. Y'all, SEO ain't dead. It's as alive as it's ever been. It's as important as it's ever been. And so why skip it? We got to produce content, sure. We've got to have all the right conversion setup and structure for our site, but let's not skip the easy things. You can fix like so many SEO problems in give me 30 minutes. 30 minutes, I could completely fix a lot of this. It doesn't take very long. So that was one of the things that really made me sad because I felt like it was a simple miss. The other thing that I wanted to mention is when you show things like ebooks, and they do that on the homepage, if you go to that those two calls to action underneath the homepage, the hero image on the homepage, you got now open D4's China office and data center. Okay, first thing, my gut tells me that most people don't care about that unless it's D4. Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. It's important with retail, but generally with a B2B company like this, not nearly as important. Could be wrong. The other thing, that ebook there, if you're going to offer an ebook, you've got to truly show the image of the thing that they're going to get. And so a lot of people make this mistake. They just go cheap on their visuals of the representation of the ebook, of the white paper, of the downloadable thing. Take the time to make it look real. If I had $1 for every time somebody said, Marcus, could you send me the hard copy version of that ebook? And I said, it doesn't exist. And they say, I'm sure it does, Marcus, because I've seen the picture. And I'm like, no, that's just the visual representation of a digital product. It doesn't really exist, my friend. And so the point is, that should be the user experience. Final thing about the homepage, just a little bit confused about the whole design of, you've got the navigation in the left side, and then you've got kind of 1 to 2 columns happening throughout this entire homepage experience, and it just seems a little bit confusing and heavy to me. In other words, I didn't feel like they took the time to walk me through each room of the house and allow me to see it and say, okay, I got it, and then move on. It was confusing, and I felt like that flow was a little bit disjointed, I guess, is the best way to put that.
If we can go back up to the top really quick, looking at the value proposition, I like the fact that there's one clear call to action. It's green, it stands out. I want to give some positives here as well. I do like that. I actually like that the person, I do agree you should label who the person is, but I do like the fact that they're almost
She works there. She works there. I think she works there, which is really, really cool.
I do like that, and it doesn't look like a stock photo. We crap all of our stock photos every month on this program, but it definitely is a real person, nice, good professional photography, says a little bit about the quality of the company, and she's focused, like the way she's looking is actually towards the words. So your eyes actually go towards that. Now, there are A/B tests that show sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but nevertheless, it works on me. Every time I kind of look at her, my face kind of just keeps turning right over towards the words there. I do kind of like the headline. What I think is missing is the word you here. Instead of we're experts in designing customized, something more about you focused. And I think that would probably be a little bit stronger.
Yeah, like you and problem focused. Obviously, the service they render are e-discovery managed service solutions, but they don't specifically say the problem that they solve. Are you frustrated with, like, that's the thing so many companies miss. And I like how you said that, Bob. There is one thing about this company. They look stable. They look strong because they have a strong feel and presence to the site, right? It's a very professional vibe. And so, like, immediately, I'm not thinking they're going out of business anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. And if they put this much quality into just getting the first visual I see in the site, I might have that same quality carry through my experience in the company.
Word.
Yeah. I also think really quick, just it kind of goes back to what you were saying before, Marcus, about the last company in the concrete, right? These guys are I don't want to say it in a negative way, but they're another IT firm, right? They're working in the IT space, and a lot of times you see the same IT site over and over and over again. And they've truly redefined that space with this design and this site. The fact that they're using people and just following really strong design trends. So I thought that was a big positive too.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to the next site here. We want to catch up a little bit here on time. SG
Sure.
Analytics.
Yeah, I'll jump on this one. So I guess the first thing right away, there were a couple of things. We go back to this whole scrolling banner thing, and it's just distracting. The words change in the upper right-hand corner. There's no value proposition. I almost feel like I'm on, like a stock photo website, like Shutterstock or something right away. So I think, just like we were talking about before, get a very clear, strong value proposition that talks about the problem you're solving, what you guys are all about, so that as soon as I get here, I can understand that. Now, if I look in the lower left-hand corner, I do see some of the services that you guys offer, but the trouble for me was just the hierarchy of content. There is a lot of words, there's a lot of different font sizes, there's different font colors, there's different icons, some that are circles, some that have a white background, some are on gray, I have blogs. There were so many things that distracted me from what it is that you truly do and what you believe, that it was difficult to absorb it. I have to be straight up honest, I was looking at this site while you guys were talking about some of the other ones, just to like rehash, and it was very difficult for me to get through it because I was just so frustrated. If you scroll down, there are just links upon links down in the footer, which actually comes up really, really quickly. So that was just an issue for me. And then also, in a similar fashion to the math course site, is the navigation is actually in the middle of the page right now. So, and the issue is that it stays there when you go page to page. So if you click into services, Christine, I don't know if you might have to just click one of those. So the interesting thing is the page loads really quickly, which is awesome, but you actually can't tell if you change pages. Because the navigation stays where it is, because the images at the top and the words at the top stay the way they are, it's very confusing from a UI perspective that it just doesn't seem like you've actually gone to another page.
And I don't think that those stock photos up top are adding any value.
Yeah, they just aren't. So the real lesson here is get rid of the clutter, right? And in this case, the images are actually acting as clutter. We should be finding images that support what you're talking about on the page. Investment research, maybe it's two financial folks talking together. Obviously, if you have to go the stock route, try to find one that's not as stocky as the ones that we see at the top of this page. But really try to find images that add value and use that real estate in a wiser way, I guess, right? Because although it's beautiful, it's not adding that value. The other thing I wanted to mention too is from a buyer journey perspective, when I look at the navigation, that's a really telling thing for me to see. Well, did they study this? Do they know it in and out? And they are a market research firm, so maybe they know a couple things that I don't. And they also, I think they are a European company as well. But I've noticed that we've started navigation with the consideration stage of the buying process, so knowing the company better. And usually when you want to know a company better, you've already identified your own problem and you identify the solution that you want, and you're kind of vetting the company. So typically in navigation, you see the problems or the solutions to those problems first, and you work your way into that consideration stage to the right. But to me, this just didn't make too much sense from that perspective. So I guess my advice here is to lead with those solutions to those problems, help those people understand what it is they're trying to solve, and then lead them to the fact that they can learn a bit more about who are going to be the people that are helping them solve those problems. Bless you.
Bless you.
I'm sorry.
Are you allergic to this site, Marcus?
We can see Marcus, but you guys can't. He was really trying to get the mic away from his face. While he was,
Dang it.
So those are the real critical issues for me, and I guess I just want to open this one up to you guys because I was, in all fairness, I mean this is a throwdown. I was struggling to find something that was really positive. The one thing I'll mention is that the content, some of the content is pretty strong. I was reading through some of it, but there's a lot of it. It's tough to find. It's hidden in these smaller menus, and then there's read more buttons to go deeper in. It'd be really great to see this broken up, larger font, show me some bullet points, keep it out of these hidden boxes. Bob, I know you hate these things in many cases. So I'll open it up to you guys.
I know what I agree with you, Tom. I think these guys just need to get back to a whiteboard, white frame out, a wireboard, out what they want from this site. What's the purpose? What's the value proposition? What's the messaging? What's the problem being solved? And just start laying out a story and start bulleting out what that story is going to look like, and then let the website come from that. I would recommend a complete redesign here.
Yeah.
My only thoughts on this is the entire financial industry lacks a whole lot of soul when it comes to the digital side of their business. They do this because they're so caught up in their own regulations and how special or unique financial services are that they forget to be human. And now I am stereotyping right now, and I'm doing a blanket statement. Sure, there's a 1% to 2% that's not like that, but the 98% is like that. This site lacks soul. Showing photos of Yosemite doesn't engender that. And so the soul that I want to see is not just the firm, but their clients. If they've got case studies, which they do, if they've got client testimonials, I really want to see them. I want to see people, and I want to get a sense for who they are. I don't see that yet. And to me, once they get back to the whiteboard, as you mentioned about, that's where I start, is how can we give more soul to our viewers.
Great point. Absolutely.
I love it.
Okay, on to the next site. And this one's me, FileMinders. So I started off on this one not thinking it was too bad, but then the more and more I looked at it, the more and more I found things that I would change. Obviously, there's a slider here, and I'm looking at it, and it looks, again, that's clearly a stock photo. Fast, accurate, secure. Our solutions optimize your document-centric processes. I don't really even know what that means. I feel like I might even be a potential fit for you guys, but I'm not understanding what that really means. As I went through, I wasn't getting it. There's also some formatting issues here. So if we go into the next few slides there, Christine, if we go through those, to me, it's not screaming that this is a professional company. It almost looks like you paid $500 to have your website built by somebody that bought a template and didn't really execute on it very well. So I just think from do I feel comfortable doing business with a company like this? Do I have confidence that this is a real company? And the answer is no. I'm not feeling it off the homepage here. I would hit the back button after seeing this homepage immediately.
Yeah.
Scrolling down, where you're starting to try to drive some value a little bit, right under our solutions, it's too small, hard to read. It's definitely really depreciated compared to what you're saying in the slider. Even going through, I'm not fully understanding what the services are, so I wasn't getting it. We go down a little bit more. And I guess one thing I want to say here, I wasn't sure if it was a software, I wasn't sure if it was services. You're saying our services, but it almost looks like it's trying to be a software site. If it is services, again, we've said this probably on every site already, I want to see people. Show me the people that work at the company. Make this real for me. Again, it just looks, again, like somebody probably bought this and didn't even change out the text that came with the template. The blog down here was really confusing too. I've never ever seen this. This is completely unique. And you guys tell me if you've ever seen this. They don't show the blog titles. They show the excerpt from the first paragraph.
That's a first for me.
I've never ever seen that before. Totally confused by that. And if you click into a blog article, actually, you know what? Before going into the blog article, go to the blog in general. Did that not go? Try the link on the navigation there. There we go. I'm looking at the titles of all these blog articles. and they are boring and they're self-promotional, completely missing what content marketing is supposed to be all about. Comply more, worry less. Let's go down a little bit more, Christine. Let's look at all of them. Secure destruction. Easter holiday office hours. I don't know if that belongs in your blog. If I'm going here to learn, I'm not seeing that. The only one that I thought was decent was the last one here. It was like the first one you did. What is the difference? I can't read it, Christine. What does that say? What is it? We have our things on top of that. Can you scroll down a little bit more? There we go. What is the difference between data protection and data disaster?
Yeah, that's actually a question that a prospect might ask. And that's like you know how I feel about they ask you answer.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like if 90+% of the titles of these articles are not questions that a prospect or a client would ask, and that's a problem. It's a huge problem.
Exactly. And looking at this, if you scroll down, I read it quickly. It was a decently written article with some stats and it was formatted nicely, and I can kind of read through it. It looks good. There's actually some best practices here. You can see Christine's face under the comments there. I thought that was kind of cool and integrated with Facebook. You got social share links. But a couple of things I would add to this would be make sure you have some more calls to action, things that link off the article. Don't make it a dead end. Make it so people can use this as a gateway. They might find this article in social media or in search, land on your site for the first time, and use this as a way to go and get introduced to your company. So have the next step there for them. Or if they want to subscribe, maybe they really enjoyed this article, they bounce around and see a few more articles that they enjoy in your site, and they want to subscribe. And you don't have any forms here for anyone to subscribe to your content. My other recommendation on top of this is create more articles like this. Invest in creating content like this. If you do this over, if you do 2 a week, 3 a week, and you start doing this over 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, you're going to start building up some real assets on your site, and these blogs will start generating traffic again and again and again and again for you. It actually makes your site worth more money, makes your company worth more money. So start investing in these articles. You've shown you could do one. Now do 1,000 more over the next 5 years. If we go over to the services page really quick, and I think I might have to go into one of those. Records management, maybe. This is fine. We can go to any of these pages. This is the best content I've seen on the site. I think it still needs some work. It's very... Actually, I did this in the homepage. Let me go back to the homepage. I did miss something I wanted to say. And scroll down to like the middle of the page here. This is very interesting. Yeah, right about there. Christine, hit Control F and do a search for me, and type in you, and scroll down so we could see. There's a couple of U's, right? Now type in the word hour, O-U-R, and scroll down. Look at how much more they're talking about themselves. And
that was a cool trick right there. I gotta start doing that one with clients and stuff, man. That was tight.
Because I'm reading through the content and I hear hour, and I'm like, I wonder what the comparison would be. How many hours versus use? And I was very, very surprised. So the rest of the services page content was very, very similar. It almost comes off as gobbledygook. Probably be important. I think if you took that content you had, you maybe do a little bit more. Start with the why, clearly define your how, make it clear what your product is, make sure everyone knows what to do next, introduce a little bit more visuals, a little bit more hierarchy, and storytelling, and I think you'll be on the right track. That's what's missing. Read up on all of that, and I think you guys could start turning the site around. There might be some real opportunity here. That's all I had. So,
yeah,
you guys have anything else on the site?
I was just going to mention that we haven't really talked about it yet, but a quick thing you guys can probably do to take a first step towards this stuff, because we're talking about moving things around, changing words, adding buttons. Try installing something like Hotjar, which gives you the ability to track user eye movements and scroll maps. See how people are actually engaging with your site as it is. then you can make decisions on, well, what Bob, Tom, and Marcus were saying was absolute shit, or it was really, they were right. People are clicking here and there's no button, or nobody's getting to the bottom of my page. And use that as a building block, and then create a roadmap for how you're going to implement these new changes on your site. That's going to be especially important for you guys if you start doing content marketing like Bob is saying. You want to know how those people are interacting with your pages.
Awesome. Well, we got one more site left. Arc City Granite out of St. Louis.
That's me, man.
All right, bud.
I'm excited about this one. There's some good things to be said about this site, and there's some things obviously that are frustrating. But let me highlight. Let me give praise. So this is the first company that I have seen that put pricing in the nav bar. Ka-ching! Good for them. And if you go to that pricing page, that is in the nav bar, they've got this article on how much do granite countertops cost, which just thought that was so impressive, and so huge props to them for taking the time to explain how it varies and why it depends and what are some of the factors that are going to impact cost and price. They did that, so big props for that. The other thing that Arch City has done is they have taken the time to create a pretty decent amount of content on this site. I mean, I didn't do a quick look, but there is a lot. So, like, for example, if you go to the blog, you see that they understand some of the fundamentals of content marketing. For example, I'm just going to read you the titles of their most recent stuff. Okay, they got 3 kitchen countertop recommendations for homeowners who love to cook. Okay, and I could see somebody who loves to cook saying, something like, best countertops for those that love to cook, or things like that's just good. That's smart. Soapstone countertops, a complete guide by Arch City Granite. Right, so that was good because they are giving essentially a review of a type of countertops. I just wish they would have said the word review in there. How not to shop for granite countertops. So in other words, they're teaching people the right and the wrong way to buy granite countertops because a lot of people are not experienced with it. It's just there's great effort on the content side of this company. So I really wanted to highlight that from the beginning. I could see that they've put a lot of time and effort into that. Now, that being said, the home page, if you go to the home page, you'll see it is cluttered. It's cluttered for a few reasons. So they've got the text at the beginning on the upper left-hand side. Now, what that is, it's all an SEO grab, and it's a really old school, circa 2007 grab that I think they need to let go of at this point in time. When you've got that classic case of, I'm just looking at it all. I'm seeing exactly what they're doing. It's kind of missing the mark in terms of where Google is in 2016. They want this to be a great experience for the user, and this type of stuff today isn't nearly like it was in 2007 in terms of impact on SEO. Also, I think they need to be careful about this. They go back and forth between dark backgrounds and light backgrounds on this site, and generally, unless you're reading at night, we don't want to do dark backgrounds very much, especially if somebody's going to consume a lot of information on your site. We got to be careful about that. We want to lean towards darker text, lighter backgrounds. It's just easier on the eyes. It's easier on the brain. There's just all these studies behind it. It's kind of weird. So that being said, I would go with one great image again on this homepage. This hero image on the top. Let's go with one great clear statement. We call that the sales line, the use statement. I'm not sure what y'all call that, Bob, but the use statement. Yeah. I like the use statement because it defines what you do as a company, but it's about them, you, the buyer, right? And so for me in this case, it would be get the granite countertops of your dreams without the stress, worry, and and frustration that oftentimes comes with a remodel or something, and we would work on that. But that's where, to me, it would start. It's where it would start. Now, the second section of the homepage, you got this kitchen visualizer, which is kind of cool, kind of high tech. But the problem is it's lost between this top section and then what comes underneath of it, the videos and all these other stuff. So we start to get a little bit too cluttered. And I think this kitchen visualizer could be really, really strong, but they don't visually represent the kitchen visualizer on the homepage nearly enough. And so let's dedicate more space to that section. I could see how that would be attractive to people, but it's not immediately understood what it's going to allow me to do. So let's make sure that we do that. And then in this third area of the homepage where it has the video about Arch City Granite video, you've got to request a quote, you've got to open to the public, and you've got to ready to take your calls. So you've got 4 essentially almost like calls to action slammed together into one. We don't need that many. We just need to be a little bit more fluid. Simplicity is key here. This company is on the right track. They really, really are. I think they've got a teacher's mindset. I give them big props for that. Now they've got to go back to, at least on the homepage, the less is more, make it a little bit more fluid of an experience. And last thing, and really almost every company we've talked about today is not doing what I'm getting ready to say. They don't visually show the story through video nearly enough. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about decorative concrete, or you're talking about granite countertops, you're talking about really anything at this point, but especially those hands-on, touch it, feel it, see it types of items. I should see the manufacturing process. You've got some photos, but folks, photos isn't enough at this point. We should have a video person that is doing this, and if I was this company, and it sounds extreme, I own 2 companies, both have full-time videographers, and they're not like massive companies, but video is that important, and we just cannot dismiss it anymore. With visual-based products, and good grief, granite countertops are that, for the love of all that is pure and clean. We've got to show these projects, how we install them. We've got to show how we make them, how we cut them, how we select the stone. All these things has its own beautiful story, and that's what's going to be the difference between you being the bottom priced company versus the middle to upper tier price company, is because when you can visually show it better than anybody else, you have earned the right to ask for a higher price.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Absolutely, absolutely agree in that. And video is more important now than it's ever been. So.
Well, I would say that I had the opportunity to talk with Govey, who owns this company. He is a fantastic guy. He's super bought into this process. And Marcus, he is doing his best to follow what you're talking about. And it's actually noted under the All About Granite section, where he's creating a bunch of videos that show you how to select the right stone, how to seal it. Really cool stuff that he's doing. It's fantastic.
Can we take a look at that? I think that'd be beneficial.
Yeah, it's cool too, because I actually didn't see that section. And so if I didn't see that section, granted, I didn't spend an hour on the site. Yeah. But if he's got this section, maybe, and if he's doing the video, then we just got to make sure that it's easy to find that video. And so maybe because of all that clutter I was talking about, I missed that visual experience that I was seeking to have.
Exactly.
Christine, I don't think this is the video. Where's the video section?
Scroll up and hover over All About Granite. And then if you just check how to select the right granite.
There we go. Okay, they're in here. Got it.
Yeah, and there's so much opportunity to. I think, boy, we all struggled to find that just now, and that's a perfect representation of UX and the struggles with it. So we just got to clean up a little bit. This company is on its way, though. I feel
Marcus, I'm gonna push back on you, Marcus. I have a lot of respect for you. But I'm going to push back on you right now.
Please push.
Let's see how hard it is to actually find it, because most people aren't going to start on the website and the homepage and go for this. They're going to start in the search engines.
Yes.
So let's see how well they're actually doing. We'll put them on the spot here. Christine, why don't you highlight that title and see where they rank for that title.
Moment of SEO truth is coming up.
Arch City Granite.
Number 2.
Number
1.
Number 1 above the ads. So I think we owe a round of applause, because that's how you get found. So
Crushing it.
Good for them. Good for them. They're doing a lot of things right. I can tell this company's on their way.
great.
Did you see it was above HGTV?
Yeah,
That was awesome. Yeah.
So let's go back over to Twitter here really quick as we get ready to wrap up. And Edward, or Ed Extreme, says that, and of course I just lost this, everything just came in, there we go. He says he's joining from South Africa and just wants to say thanks. Great tips, definitely a mind-expanding discussion. So we appreciate that.
And I appreciate South Africa, as I spoke there last year and had one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Oh, man, I'm jealous. Never been.
Yeah,
Never been.
Awesome. Awesome country.
Well, we're going to wrap up here, and so I want to give a very special thank you to our guest, Marcus Sheridan. You're the man, and really great insights today. We really, really, really appreciate it.
I was so honored. This was so fun.
Awesome. You got it, man. Hey, maybe we'll get you back on here again sometime.
I love it.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ramona. Thank you, Christine. Don't forget to check out Brewing Marketing and Sales Success. I opened this discount back up for you guys, so use it. The Throwdown tag is not promoted anywhere else, and it's open until tomorrow. And if you want to talk to Marcus after this, Marcus, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
You can find me. Marcus@thesalesline.com is my email. You can listen to me at Mad Marketing. So on iTunes, if you're a HubSpotter, you want to check out the Hubcast as well, because that junk is tight.
I was telling Marcus, I listen to that every time they have a new one. That's where I work out to in the morning. So I get my Hubcast fill every week.
Thank you.
And Tom, if they want to get in touch with us, how can they do it?
Yeah, for sure. impactbnd.com/talk if you want to find me on Twitter @TomDeCipio.
Well, everyone have a very wonderful rest of your Friday. You should probably sneak out early. Don't tell your boss. It's sunny here in the Northeast. Hopefully it is by you. Enjoy your weekend. Until next month, talk to you soon.